The chapter immediately picks up after King Sejong's ecstatic praise for his son's defense of the people. Hyang capitalized on the king's favor, linking his economic plans to Confucian morality. He argued that nobles and ministers could suppress their hunger with reason and virtue, but commoners, lacking that education, could not. Therefore, if we want to teach them and cultivate virtue, shouldn't we at least make them not hungry? The king was overwhelmed with excitement. Hyang then delivered his final, masterful blow to the traditionalists. He addressed the conservative notion that adversity, like drought or famine, occurred because the king lacked virtue, forcing him to cultivate virtue first. Hyang countered that this logic was twisted. He articulated the correct order of governance. We must arrange for water and food before drought, prepare medicine in advance before the epidemic, and store grains before the year of famine comes. Isn't that the correct order? He then accused the ministers of not making these necessary preparations and instead foisting the blame onto the king's perceived lack of virtue. He challenged them directly, asking, "Are you all saying that our Joseon dynasty lacks virtue?" The officials immediately prostrated themselves, denying any heinous and insolent thoughts and repeatedly begging the king for mercy. The king calmed the situation, gently reprimanding the crown prince. The crown prince was too harsh. Hyang, playing the role of the chastised son, apologized and begged forgiveness. King Sejong then issued his final, masterful blow to the traditionalists. He sided decisively with his son, saying, "Ministers, listen up. I also believe that relief for the people should come first. Additionally, the tribute the Emperor of Ming asked for will be executed as the Crown Prince's plan." The ministers reluctantly submitted. "We will do as you wish." Before concluding the assembly, Hyang had one final addition. He argued that donating grain was insufficient. Instead, it was more appropriate to distribute grain to people in return for work. The ministers had no choice but to agree that it was indeed an excellent idea. The assembly ended, and the king gave Hyang official permission to participate in the political discussions once the ancestral rites end. As the ministers departed, they were deeply shaken, realizing the gravity of their mistake. "Sigh, we've taken a big blow. We underestimated him because he's young." One minister suggested submitting a letter of resignation, while others clung to their duty to correct the king, planning to make sure to turn His Majesty into a sage by persuading him to listen to their counsel. Meanwhile, King Sejong spoke with the queen, who mentioned the uproar in the assembly. Sejong confessed, "I was the one who caused the uproar." He admitted he got carried away and used the passionate speech he employed during his time as Grand Prince, lamenting that this affected the dignity of a king. The king dismissed the queen's concerns about Hyang's age and political participation. He felt Hyang was fine, noting, "The more I look at him, the more it feels like he's in his 40s. Alone in his chamber, the king reflected on the situation, the expression on his face darkening. He realized that the palace is still full of father's subjects, hinting at the remaining loyalists of the previous reign. He pondered his next move against these entrenched forces. Should I make them come out on their own, or should I chase them out? Should I let it end prettily, or see blood to it?